Namaskar. Cruelty is nothing new in this world. We have heard of people being cruel to animals, to other people, and even to themselves. The cruelty we inflict upon ourselves is what we call as punishment. But did you ever wonder what happens to a cruel person? What is their end like? How do they face their own end? Do they change at all? Today, let's find out what happens to a cruel person. Let's find out together. A cruel person may break bodies, but never conquer souls. There was once a mighty king who ruled over his kingdom with an iron fist. He was feared by one and all because of his extreme and unacceptable behavior. People were just a means for him to quench his never-ending thirst for power. He would use them, abuse them, and then throw them away like a used tissue paper. And this is exactly what he did to his own son, Prince Arjun. Arjun had always been different from the other princes of his age. While other princes of his age craved for power, status, and wealth, Arjun wanted to live a simple life as a commoner. He wanted to get out of the clutches of his father, the king, and live life on his own terms. This infuriated the king, and he decided to disinherit his own son. One day the king called Arjun and told him that he was no longer the prince of the kingdom, and that he had to leave the palace. He also handed over a small bag of coins to Arjun and pushed him out of the palace. "Here, beg, steal, or barter. I don't care," the king shouted at Arjun, "but leave my kingdom. I don't want to see your face again." Poor Arjun. He had no option but to accept his fate, so he left the kingdom and became a pauper overnight. Years passed, and Arjun grew up into a handsome young man, but he was still penniless. One day, while walking on the streets, he saw a group of children playing, and he sat down on a nearby tree to watch them play. The children noticed Arjun and invited him to play with them. At first, Arjun refused, but seeing the innocent faces of the children, he gave in and started playing with them. For the first time in years, Arjun felt happy. He felt alive. He forgot his pains and his sorrows and played with the children till evening. But their happiness was short-lived. A group of burly men entered the park and asked the children to leave. "Get lost, you dirty animals! This park is closed for the night," one of the men shouted at the children. The children started crying, but the men didn't budge. They continued to push the children to leave the park. Seeing this, Arjun stood up and confronted the men. "How can you be so cruel to these innocent children? Don't you have any parents or siblings of your own? If you did, you wouldn't be so mean to these kids," Arjun shouted at the men. "What did you say? You dare talk back to us?" one of the men asked, enraged. Before Arjun could say anything, the men pounced on him and beat him black and blue. They didn't stop even when Arjun fell unconscious. They kept beating him, thinking that it would scare away the children. But the children weren't scared. Instead, they surrounded the men and started shouting, "Leave him alone! Leave him alone!" The men were taken aback by the children's courage and they left the park quietly. The children immediately rushed to Arjun and started first aid on him. They took turns to apply water on him and make him feel comfortable. Seeing their concern, a woman who was passing by came forward and helped the children take care of Arjun. "I am a doctor," she said. "I will take care of him. You guys go home now." The children thanked the lady and left the park. The lady took care of Arjun throughout the night, and by morning, he had regained consciousness. "Thank you for saving me last night," Arjun said to the lady. "You risked your reputation just to help me. Why?" The lady smiled and replied, "We may not know each other, but I saw how cruel those men were. I couldn't just stand by and watch. Also, you reminded me of my son. He's abroad now, but he too helps anyone in need without a second thought. It seems you are a good man, Arjun. Your heart is in the right place." Arjun blushed and said, "It was nothing, ma'am. I am sorry for what happened to you because of me." The lady stopped him and said, "There's no need for you to apologize. Now, how about some breakfast? I insist." Arjun agreed, and they both went to a nearby restaurant. After breakfast, Arjun noticed that the lady was looking at him intently. "Is there something on my face, ma'am?" he asked. "No, nothing like that," the lady replied. "Actually, I am the chief of police in this city, and through some of my sources, I came to know about your sad tale. I am sorry about what your father did to you. You should not have suffered like that." Arjun sighed and said, "It's all in the past, ma'am. I don't want to talk about it anymore." The lady insisted that Arjun file a case against his father, but Arjun refused. "I don't want to hurt my father. He's already old, and I don't want to send him to jail." Seeing her client's innocence, the lady admired him. She found it hard to believe that someone could be so noble-hearted after going through so much pain and suffering. She told Arjun that she wanted to adopt him as her foster son, and Arjun readily agreed. Years passed, and under the guidance of his foster mother, Arjun became a successful businessman. He was respected by one and all, and he never forgot the values his mother had instilled in him. Meanwhile, the king, too, aged a lot. His health deteriorated and his mind became senile. One day, he summoned his ministers and transferred all his property to his name. He also ordered that half of his wealth be donated to charity. Although he had made some good decisions towards the end of his life, it was too late to make amends for his past mistakes. One day, the king experienced excruciating chest pain. His ministers and servants rushed to his side, but it was too late. The king had suffered a massive heart attack and was no more. Arjun heard about his father's death, but he was not sad. He knew that his father had got his karma. His father had been cruel to everyone, even to himself. But did he ever repent? Did he ever try to change? No, he never did. Then who were we to shed a tear for him? Arjun thought. On the other hand, the ministers and servants were crying inconsolably. Maybe they were attached to the king because he had been generous to them. But for Arjun, his father was nothing but a stranger. To everyone's surprise, Arjun donated the maximum amount of money for the cremation ceremony. Everyone present there wondered why Arjun was being so generous. After all, his father had been cruel to him. As the funeral procession moved out of the palace, one of the ministers stopped Arjun and asked him why he was donating so much money. "I am doing it for my father's soul to attain peace," Arjun replied. The minister was taken aback by Arjun's reply, and he realized that despite all the pain his father had caused him, Arjun was a noble-hearted person. The minister also realized that his master was not deserving of Arjun, not in his lifetime, and definitely not after his death. When the news reached the chief of police, she was very proud of Arjun. She knew that she had not only gained a son, but also a true role model. So, friends, we come to the end of today's story. As we have seen, a cruel person may break many bodies, but can never conquer souls. A person may be rich or powerful, but if he is cruel, he is bound to suffer. On the other hand, a person may be poor or powerless, but if he is kind and noble-hearted, he will always be respected by society. So remember, true strength lies in being kind, compassionate, and helpful. The more we try to harm others, the more we harm ourselves. That's all for today, friends. I hope you liked the story. If you did, show your support. And don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, goodbye.